Last month, the judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from trustees.
I am about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, there won't be anything. It'll just be me addressing you guys to tell you what's going on.
All right, get ready for some real drama, because today we're diving into the messy, chaotic, and downright unbelievable world of Dolton, Illinois, where Mayor Tiffany Henard is making waves. And not in the way you'd expect. Henard, the first woman to be elected mayor of this small village, is at the center of one of the wildest political scandals you've probably never heard of, but trust us. After this, you're going to want to know everything about it.
I'm a private investigator. I've got some books as Mayor. Inside I have from the United States District Court, Northern District of Illinois.
So here's the kicker. Despite being under multiple investigations, facing allegations of misusing public funds, and basically being the target of every accusation in the book, Henard has just announced she's running for re-election. Yeah, you heard that right. Re-election. Now, why on earth would someone facing this much heat want to jump back into the fire? Well, we're about to break it all down, and maybe even answer that question by the end of this video. First off, let's set the stage a little bit. Henard's rise to power seemed like a historic moment for Dolton, a small village just south of Chicago. In 2021, she became the first woman to hold the position of mayor in this town. Two people were hopeful. She ran on a platform of change, transparency, and improving the quality of life for the people of Dolton. Sounds good, right? Well, it didn't take long for that narrative to start unraveling.
Also new tonight, Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard is suing some village trustees over Monday's meeting.
Almost immediately after taking office, Henard's leadership style was called into question. Trustees, residents, and even former allies started accusing her of running the village like a personal kingdom, making decisions behind closed doors, and most importantly, throwing taxpayer money around like it was monopoly cash. By 2022, just a year into her term, voters were so fed up that they actually recalled her. So that's right, Dolton voters kicked her out of office. But here's where things get wild. Henard fought back. She took the recall decision to court and somehow got the Illinois Appellate Court to toss the recall votes. So just like that, she was back in office, acting like nothing had happened. Talk about resilience or, defiance. To now, you'd think that after such a close call, Henard would maybe, we don't know, tone things down a little, maybe stop making enemies. Not a chance. She doubled down. In fact, things only got worse. Let's talk about the FBI investigation. Yeah, you heard us, the FBI. Earlier this year, they showed up at Dolton's Village Hall. And no, they weren't there to make a friendly visit. So they were looking into the village's financial records, and what they found wasn't pretty.
This administration is shameful. Y'all are a disgrace.
We're watching the fall of this administration.
At the heart of it all are these serious allegations that Henard has been spending village funds on, well, let's just say extravagant things. And when we say extravagant, we are not talking about office supplies. I'm talking about parties, trips, and even personal purchases. One report found that Henard spent tens of thousands of village funds on, get this, an Amazon shopping spree. Yeah, Dolton taxpayers are basically footing the bill for Henard's online shopping habit. And it doesn't stop there. Remember that Christmas party she threw, the one with R&B singer Keith Wyatt and rapper Jay Holiday? Yeah, that cost the village over $85,000. Who throws a party that expensive on a mayor's salary? Oh wait, she didn't. She used village money. But let's get back to the FBI. They're not just looking at credit card receipts here. So they're digging into everything allegations that Henard awarded contracts to businesses owned by friends and family members without following proper legal procedures, and even claims that she accepted bribes from local contractors in exchange for favorable treatment. The whole thing reads like the plot of a political thriller, except it's happening in a tiny town that most people have never heard of. And it's real.
Of court, the judge today declining to hold her in contempt, but did warn her that if she did not follow the ruling, he would.
While all this is going on, Henard still hasn't lost her nerve. In fact, she's pushing harder than ever to hold onto her power. The most shocking part, she's doing this while completely ignoring court orders. Earlier this year, a judge literally blocked her from making key appointments to top positions in the village like the police chief and village attorney because she didn't get the necessary board approvals. But instead of, following the law, Henard tried to go ahead and make the appointments anyway. So that led to yet another legal battle, with Henard claiming that the trustees are just out to get her. It's a mess, and the village is caught in the middle.
Next thing is my vetoes. So I got several vetoes here that the board has.
But hold on, it gets even crazier. Henard's not just dealing with legal drama, she's also got some personal drama spilling into the courtroom. So rumors have been swirling for a while now about Henard's private life, specifically her relationship with a guy who, let's just say, has become a central figure in all of this. And if you thought things couldn't get more bizarre, guess what? He took the stand against her. Yep, her own boyfriend exposed her in court, spilling details about how she allegedly diverted village funds for personal expenses like vacations, fancy dinners, you name it. Apparently, they had some very cozy conversations about how to spend taxpayer money, and now those conversations are being laid out for everyone to hear. So that's betrayal on a whole other level.
You got the clickbait, huh? All right. I guess anything else? I get sued all the time. Y'all stop it.
At this point, you've got to wonder, how does someone like Henard think she can still win an election after all this? The FBI is sniffing around. Her boyfriend just stabbed her in the back, and the village is in financial shambles. You'd think this would be the time to maybe bow out gracefully. But no, Henard's not going anywhere. In fact, she's doubling down on her re-election campaign, and she's doing it with some pretty shady tactics.
We believe strongly that that meeting was improperly called and improperly held. The residents of Dolton.
One of the biggest criticisms against Henard's re-election efforts is how she's allegedly using public events to gather voter data. And not just any events, we're talking about feel-good stuff like Christmas toy giveaways and Halloween parties. Sounds innocent enough, right? Well, not quite. Here's the catch. To participate in these events, residents have to register. And by register, we mean they're handing over personal information, phone numbers, addresses, all that good stuff. Critics say Henard is basically using these events to build a database of potential voters, and honestly, it's not a stretch to think that this info could be used to influence the election. So people are calling it manipulative and underhanded, but Henard, she's not bothered. She's running her re-election campaign like it's business as usual.
But the administration can adhere to some financial limits. We're not looking to necessarily...
And this whole registration thing has really rubbed people the wrong way. We mean Wichimicho needing people's personal info to give away toys for food. One commenter put it perfectly, absolutely insane. Nothing is free. Giving away what's not hers to give away. And another fan hit the nail on the head by saying, if Tiffany doesn't run for office, she'll look like she's guilty of everything she's accused of doing. And honestly, that's kind of the vibe here. It's almost like Henard has to run for re-election to avoid looking guilty, even though the more she fights to stay in power, the guiltier she looks. So what makes all of this even wilder is that Henard has started to play the victim card, claiming that all these accusations are part of a smear campaign cooked up by her political enemies. She's been pretty vocal on social media, posting things like, if God is for us, who can be against us? And rallying her supporters to stand by her side. But here's the thing, her support base is dwindling fast. Two village trustees, who have been battling her tooth and nail for years, are fed up. And let's not forget the residents, who have seen their village's finances spiral into a deficit of over $3 million, according to a report by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. That's right, even Lori Lightfoot is involved in this whole mess. She was hired to audit Dolton's finances, and the results were not good. We're talking millions missing, receipts not being provided, and a general sense that Henard has been treating village funds like her own personal piggy bank.
Very appreciative to receive the information today. We have the best mayor ever. I've been here since 1993.
So what's the strategy here? Well, it seems like Henard is betting on a classic political move, muddy the waters so much that people don't know what to believe. So by framing everything as a conspiracy against her, she's trying to convince voters that she's being unfairly targeted. And honestly, in a world where people are already suspicious of politicians, that strategy might just work. But there's also the very real possibility that this whole thing could blow up in her face. If the FBI investigation leads to an indictment, or if more people from her inner circle start flipping on her, it could be game over.
Called our security firm and made sure they had wands, and we also told our board to come upstairs due to the fact they had several ways to exit out of the building.
And speaking of flipping, let's talk about her trustees. One of the most confusing parts of this whole saga is how Henard still has a few allies left, even though most of the village leadership seems to have turned against her. Trustee Andrew Holmes, for example, has been one of her biggest supporters, even though his own reputation has taken a hit because of it. Holmes is known for being a community activist, but lately people are starting to wonder if he's more interested in covering for Henard than actually helping the village. And then there's Stan Brown, another trustee who at one point seemed like he might flip against Henard. But now, nobody knows where he stands. Some people say he's just confused, while others think he's playing both sides to stay out of trouble. Either way, the village leadership is a total mess with constant infighting and no clear direction.
Mayor took steps to correct those things that the Attorney General required. And so we believe that for that reason, the meeting was supposed to have been here.
But here's where it gets even more chaotic. As if things weren't bad enough, Henard is now suing the village trustees and the Dolton Park District. Why? Well, apparently she's accusing them of holding illegal meetings outside of Village Hall. In typical Henard fashion, she's claiming that they're violating transparency laws and undermining her authority. It's basically a power struggle on steroids. And at this point, it's hard to see how any actual governance is happening in Dolton. So the trustees, for their part, are just trying to keep the village afloat. But Henard's constant lawsuits and legal battles are making that nearly impossible.
Here to appoint my police chief,
So what do you guys think? Is Henard going to win re-election, or is she about to crash and burn? And what's the deal with these public events and registration schemes? Do you think they're as shady? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We can't wait to hear what you have to say about this wild ride. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time with even more juicy updates.